you decide to watch this. It is Snow Apocalypse 2026, and we are in the midst of it. So we thought we'd go ahead and record this week's message and some announcements and whatever, so we could enjoy this together. What I have for you in the description, if you're watching on YouTube, on Facebook, this is going to be posted a couple different places. There's a discussion guide for families, or maybe just a devotional guide if it's just you watching this, that you can participate in throughout this week, through this day. Life's going to slow down because of the snow. Hopefully we can get out soon and it doesn't disrupt lives too much. But this is a great time to just kind of recalibrate and think about that. Today we're going to be talking about community. We're finishing the series Community. We're specifically talking about how we love our neighbors well. And maybe there's some opportunities to neighbor well in this coming week, in these moments. I have no idea. I'm recording this on Thursday, so I have no idea what our present reality is. So take it for what it's worth. A couple announcements before we get into that. There is this. The Connect journals are live. The new Connect Bible readings for the new relationship series that's going to be starting in February. It is live online already for you. If you do pop into the church this week, you can get your laminated bookmark. I know we love those laminated bookmarks. On the back of those are the QR codes. I want to point out one specific one today. It's the Next Step Pathway. You can get to that different ways on the website and also that QR code. What that does for us is if you're going, what's my next step in faith? How do I get involved at church? How do I get involved in my community? How has God created me? I have a lot of questions I want answered in that. This is a self-guided pathway. It's kind of, you take some assessments. It's basically 3 different assessments all rolled up into one. I've crafted this for Eastland. This isn't just taken out of a book somewhere. This is crafted for us. Now, the catch is for you to get your results of the assessment, you have to meet with me or one of the staff members. I don't give you the results after you complete it. It is a personal conversation that we're going to have. Ha ha ha. That's right. Get you. Just because I want to build that relationship. I want to know you a little bit better. I want to know your story, your heart, your dreams. And so the pathway is a fantastic way to jump into that. There are physical copies at the church. Maybe you've already taken one home. Snow days would be a great time to fill that out. You can bring in the physical copy and we can work through that together in my office or with another staff person and have a great time with that. Second thing is next steps. If you're new here and you want to get to know the staff a little bit better, first Sunday of February is coming up, and immediately after church, we have some wonderful food and just have some laughter and fun times together where we introduce the staff to new families. If you've not been to that, we are more than welcome to join us. You don't have to sign up. It helps us a little bit to buy the right amount of food, but I can always starve the staff for you. I'm just teasing. But we just want you to come. It's no pressure environment. It's really just a fun kind of party atmosphere of, hey, let's get to know each other a little bit more. And then finally, baptism. If you want to take your next steps in faith and get baptized, that is coming up the first week of February as well. So it's a big, big, big week next week. A lot of fun stuff happening, a lot of good things. But if you're interested in baptism, let's chat and talk about what that could mean for you. And I'm excited about what that looks like here for our church in this next season. We exist at Eastland to connect people to Christ. Like that's why we exist at Eastland, is to connect people to Jesus. And what does that look like for us? And are we doing it well? And what does that really mean? Because I can spend a lot of time connecting myself to God. I can spend time connecting others to God. I can spend time connecting with my family to God. But what does it really mean to bring people into the presence of the Lord? Last week we talked a lot about Mark 2, the guys who tore the roof off the house and lowered their friend to Christ. Like, what does it look like to do that? And in this moment of maybe snow, we get a glimpse of what it looks like to neighbor. You might see a neighbor walking down the street and he's shoveling somebody else's yard. And you may be experiencing someone helping push a car that's stuck in ice. To neighbor well. Now, those are outward expressions that we get to do that maybe once a year or once a decade because of what's happening. But on a weekly, on a monthly, to know that you have a neighbor that you can rely on for those moments. We have a fun relationship with one of our neighbors. A couple weeks ago, right before Christmas, I get a knock on the door, and Kelly goes and answer the door, opens it up, and there are three teenage boys who proceed to run a whole football play in the doorway of our house. They've got a play called. There's a center that's hiking the football. There's a quarterback, a running back. They're doing the whole thing. They run a full-on Eagles tush push to bust into the barrier of our house. Now, no one was keeping them out of there. They're pantomiming the whole thing. Absolutely hysterical. Kelly and I are dying laughing watching these 15, 16-year-old boys just tumble into our home, feel comfortable enough to make complete fools of themselves running into our house. And it was hilarious because after they got done with their little show, Davis looks at me and says, "Is Bone and Kendall home?" No, it's just Kelly and I. We're just the two of us. No one here is to watch you guys. I wish I would have known it was happening. I would have recorded it. That's how I would have started this message, and to the embarrassment of everyone. Is absolutely hysterical. But that story was just kind of the culmination of a few things that have been happening week after week after week, specifically with us and our neighbors, the Borders, with Davis's family. A week before this, we're trying to make a dessert for the staff Christmas party and realized we were out of powdered sugar. And it was the key ingredient to making the icing or whatever we were doing for this dessert. And so Kelly calls Sarah. "Sarah, do you have any powdered sugar?" Of course, Sarah texts back, "Have Bowen come on over." So Bowen runs over there, comes back with a baggie full of powdered sugar to save the day. Like, we were on sugar terms with the Davises, and it was really funny. The week before this, though, Bowen busts into the kitchen. It says, "Davis has an emergency." He has an emergency. What's needed? Did someone happen? Was he home alone and he cut himself? Like, I don't know. My parent brain goes through the roof, just starting to cycle through all the things, the troubles a 15-year-old boy could get into. He's got an emergency. He's got an emergency. Okay, what does he need? "I got it, Dad. I got it." He runs to this fridge. At this time, there's a knock on the door. Bowen opens the door, hands the item through the door, and Davis bolts home. "What was that all about?" "He ran out of Chick-fil-A sauce, Dad. He ran out of Chick-fil-A sauce." So the emergencies for 15-year-old boys are different than they are for me, apparently. But running out of Chick-fil-A sauce was an issue. Chick-fil-A sauce is not the point. The tush push is not the point. The powdered sugar is not the point. Actually having people that we feel comfortable enough around to say, "Hey, I need help with whatever." Now, these are silly little things of powdered sugar and Chick-fil-A sauce. But what happens when we're needed in a deeper way? I feel totally okay with saying, "Sarah, I need help with the kids. And I know Sarah Davis needed picked up somewhere, would be calling us." That's a win. That's a super win because it's neighboring well. Now, those relationships don't happen all the time, and they're cultivated and they're built upon, and they go up and down. Sometimes we'll be really close to them, and sometimes we probably won't be a bit close to them. And that's okay as well. But what are we doing? How are we conducting our lives to it? Are we inviting people in that their teenage sons would be welcome enough to to raid our fridge for Chick-fil-A sauce? And as I think about our church, and as I think about us building community in this season, like how are we doing that? As I think about Christians around the country, like, are we known as people that are welcoming and caring, and that silly things like this could happen? Or are we known as judgmental and off-putting and frustrating to anyone trying to have fun? Like, what is our reputation in that? And what do we have to play? What role do we have to play? So today, I want to dive into that. I'm going to keep this pretty quick because I know watching on TV is different than being in person and all those things. But I want to hit some stuff. I really want you to go through that discussion guide with your family or by yourself. I think this will really kind of cement some of these ideas and start to percolate some ideas that you have or know what your next steps should be. Mark 12:30-31 says, "Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, with all your strength." And the second is this: love your neighbor as yourself. There is no commandment greater than this. So the title of this message is What Matters Most. So what matters most is the question that's asked. Well, what commandments do I have to live by? And the answer is love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, strength, and mind and strength. And the second is love your neighbor as yourself. What matters most to Jesus? It wasn't all kinds of different things. It was those. How do we do those well? And so we need to be asking ourselves a lot as we connect people to Jesus and as we are connected to Jesus, are we loving well in these moments? Are we loving God well? Are we loving ourselves well? Are we loving our neighbor well? So Jesus is in an environment in which neighbors matter. We are pretty self-sufficient with our neighbors. This week might be a little bit funny that we need something from our neighbors. If somebody's pipes freeze, if can't get out of the driveway, whatever. I have a 4-wheel drive vehicle. If my neighbors don't and somebody needs to go to the pharmacy, I would be more than happy to go try to get to the pharmacy. Make the trek. Whatever that needs to look like, just because I need we need each other in these moments of emergency. Well, in Jesus' time, every moment is a moment of emergency. There is no refrigeration, right? There is still the common things that we just take for granted. Imagine if your cook fire went out. Someone didn't tend it. You have a teenager in charge of prepping the cook fire for that night, and it goes out. What do? Like, it's a pain without matches, without a flamethrower, without any of the fun stuff that you can light a fire with today. Imagine just the simple thing of getting your kitchen fire lit if it goes out. Well, what's your response? It's to go next door and say, hey, can I bum a light? Can I stick a stick in your fire and get that and go relight my kitchen fire? It's a big deal. Instead of working for a half an hour, however long it would be to get a fire started in that moment, you can just run to a neighbor. They're dependent on each other a lot more. And so this idea of neighboring is really cemented into the culture. And for us, we lose that a little bit. Yes, we have neighbors, but are they neighbors, or are they just people we live by? I think as we look at the scripture, we are called to be the best neighbors we possibly can be. And I think it's the easiest way actually to share our faith and to show people our faith. And those two should be intertwined, just like inhaling and exhaling. And if we can do that, I think we can have an impact in our community like we've never seen before. John 13:34-35 says, a new command I give you, love one another as I have loved you, so you must love one another. By this, everyone will know that you are my disciples if you love one another. How do people know that we are Christians? It should be by how we love, not the pundits on TV, and not by maybe the road signs we have or the bumper sticker on the back of our car, but they know us by how we love people. That's an indictment on me. If I think about that too much, I'm like, ooh, does anybody know? Would anybody know that I love Jesus this much? By my actions? That's tough. So maybe we need some changes of thoughts. We need some changes in some just examination of our own, our inner thought processes, or how we conduct even our homes, how we teach people about others in these moments. And so I want to examine those a little bit, ask some questions, and see where we go from there. First thing we do is we change how we think about our neighbors from toleration to love. We don't just happen to live by them. We love them. We choose to love them. What does that change for us? I think it changes a lot. Like, there's people in your life that you have to tolerate, and you don't get to choose your neighbors. We moved here, and we were just hoping and praying that the people that live to the left and to the right of us were okay. And we have a fantastic relationship to the people that live to the right to us. Fantastic. Rachel is awesome. Love them. They're her child and Lucy are about the same age. They love to play with each other. Good stuff all around. Love it. But then we have other neighbors where we don't really talk to them. And it's only like, hey, hi. I got a Merry Christmas. I was pretty excited about that. But that's the surface level. But there's different people. So what does it look like? How are we known? Are we just tolerating the people we live next to, or are we loving them well? This is super important into how we share our faith and how we are known and how we represent Christianity in the relationships and the people that we have. I have a non-Christian friend who is tempted to lump Christians into groups just based on what he sees on TV. Easy. Whatever media is portraying Christians as. He wants to lump them in together. And so it's my role. I get the opportunity. My mission in that moment is to be the fly in the ointment, that he can't reconcile how Jared cares about people, or Jared cares about this situation, or whatever it may be. That doesn't make total sense. Something he's got to wrestle with how I act, because I'm trying to mirror Christ in what I'm doing. Do I fail? Absolutely. Not making myself the hero of the story in any way, shape, or form. But how do we mirror that? How do we cause those kinds of friction moments? Because we want people to wrestle with it. Not like, oh, well, if Christians are like that, then I don't need to be one, or I don't want to be one. What if, when people interact with us, if Christians are like that, that's a different kind of life that I'm interested in. And this loving our neighbors well opens the door to those kinds of conversations in those moments. By this, everyone will know that you are my disciples if you love one another. There's a truth that I'm wrestling with as we deal with politics and media and news and all these different things. I look at it, you watch different videos, you see different shorts, or all kinds of different stuff. And I've come to figure out that it's far easier to tell you what I'm against than to show you what I'm for. It's far easier to show you what I'm against than to show you what I'm for. I find it easier to root against teams. It's very attractive to root against, kind of be the naysayer in that. I don't know why, but it is. I was teasing Tim about UK football the other day, and he said, well, who's your team? And like, well, if I don't have a team and I don't give him a team that I'm for, there's no, I offer nothing. There's nothing for him to push back on. It's safe for me. And that's just silly to be at, right? I think as Christians right now, it's far easier to tell us all the things that we're against than it is what we're for. In the news and our politics, it's a lot easier to say what we're against than what we're for. But what we're for is something beautiful. We're for people. We're for God. We're for love. We're for care. We're for life. And not just life, but life everlasting. Like, we're not just pro-life. We're life. And that is lost, I think, in some of the ways and the rhetoric and stuff we do. And how we diffuse that is, I'm not going to be able to manage what Fox News or CNN or MSNBC. I'm never going to be influential enough to be able to manage what they put out. But I can change the minds of my neighbors, because I can be the irreconcilable person. Yes, I feel this, and I think that those Christians are this, but my neighbor is a Christian, and they don't act like that at all. And we get to be those people. There's a couple truths that our neighbors have to reconcile, and a couple truths that we have to know that everyone is dealing with at the same time. And this helps us put us all on the same plane so that we can move forward on that. The first is this: life is hard. It's hard for everybody. It doesn't matter if you have $1 billion, if you have no dollars, if you have negative dollars. Life is hard. Now, money sometimes helps with a few of those issues, but relationships are still hard, whether you have money or you don't have money. Kids are still kids. Parenting is still parenting. Marriage is still marriage. Watching your parents get older is still watching your parents get older. It all exists. Life is hard. And there's inconveniences, and there's frustrations, and there's stuff that breaks, and there's just issues that pop up all the time. And it's a shared experience that life is hard, and we need to bind together. And when life is hard, it's when neighboring well is so easy. Is that when a tree falls, I can go help. When a dog gets out, I could chase it. When a sidewalk needs plowed, it can get done. When you go on vacation, I can mow your front yard. I'm probably not going to mow your backyard, but I'll keep the HOA off your back. Life is hard. The second truth is people are messy. People are messy. Now, that might be physically messy or just emotionally messy, or you get the beautiful double whammy of both of them. But people are messy, no matter if you live by the Cleavers, or if you live by somebody, the Family Guy people, whatever you're in there, it is messy. Life is messy. Life has tensions. Life has stuff. Things happen. You run out of powdered sugar. Eggs fall on the ground. Kids make messes. And they need help. They need people to care. To say, hey, we don't know each other that well, but I'm stepping into your life. We do share grass. And how do we start that relationship? How do we move forward in these moments? Because it's so important to how we live our lives. There's some things I've been wrestling with. I have neighbors to the back of us. I've mentioned this in other messages, but I have neighbors to the back of us, and they are moving out. They just moved out last week, and I didn't know their names. And they're like 4 or 5 years younger than Kelly and I. Absolutely unacceptable that I never even met them. Never even met them. I think I waved a couple times. Made them smell my smoked meats wafting to their house, but I never got to know them. And I failed as a neighbor in this. I lived here 18 months. I should have known my neighbor's name. And so new people are moving in, and I'm making it. I've been praying for them. As soon as I saw that for sale sign go up in their house, I'm like, Lord, I pray that someone that we can connect with. And I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to become best friends with these people or not, but I'm making a moment of prayer already before they even move in, that they're prayed for, that whatever family situations brought them to Lexington or moved them into this house, they are being prayed for. When I look out our back porch and I see that house, I'm praying for that house already, because I don't want to waste another 18 months where I miss the boat on that family. So there's a new chance, a new family. And Lord, let's see what happens with that story. Maybe for you, it's that moment of, I need to pray for my neighbors. I need to look around the houses and just pray for them. Not pray at them. We've talked about that a lot, but pray for them. Pray for their marriages. Pray for their children. Their kids drive too fast down the street. Got it. Pray for the kid while you're kind of praying at them. But pray for the child, for safety, for who they're becoming, the challenges they face as teenagers. It changes the way in which we see people. It changes the way in which we interact with them. All right, so I want you to make a grid, if you would. If you write on your piece of paper, make a 9 square, like a tic-tac-toe board, my beautiful drawing. Make that of your houses. Put your house in the middle, and Hausers, and then go around and see if you can name the names of the people who live around you. Now, maybe everybody's neighborhood's a little different. Maybe you can't fill out this kind of 9 square, but fill out the 9 square. Their names. What's their names? What's their history? What's their story? Do you know anything about them? They moved here in 82 and they served in the military and blah, 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 whatever. Okay, great. Wonderful. Now, if you're an introvert, this is really tough. I get it. I don't want to know anybody's names. No, we're called to love. If you don't know their name and you don't know their story, it's really hard to love them. So come on now. All right. And what are their hopes? And what are their hurts? Write those down. What are their names? What's their history? What's our hopes and what's our hurts? And if you fill that out in there, so this is for us in our last place, or I would just do it. This is Rachel's house. She just changed jobs. Her son is her hope, and I'm not going to share her hurt, but I actually do know this one. So I filled it out, and I would show you, but you couldn't read my handwriting anyway. And that's. I know that for Rachel. Now, for the other side, I don't know them. I don't know. I know their careers. I know what they do, but I don't know their hopes and I don't know their hurts. And so my goal for the year is that I will be able to fill out this grid for my neighbors. That means you have to have some conversations to fill out this grid. You've got to do something in that. So what does that look like? That's an easy, simple step for you. And we should know that. We live in proximity to these people. Your property value is tied to them. Your biggest investment in life is tied to these people. So maybe get to know them a little bit, right? That's what I've got for you today in a challenge. And I close today, I want to ask you 2 questions. Who do you love more today than you did a year ago? Who do you love more today than you did a year ago? Who's come into your life and shaken things up a little bit that you love today more than you did a year ago? I hope that you can answer that question. And if there is nobody that you think, they came into my life and I love them more now than I did a year ago, what are the steps we need to take so that we are introducing ourselves to new people to love? There's people in this church. We're not that big of a church, but we don't know. Maybe we've gone to church with them for 20 years and we still don't actually know who they are. Easy steps. Hey, who are you? How are you? What's going on? I see you doing this. Blah, blah, blah. You've got lovely children. Oh, those kids are, I can't, yeah, I miss my kid. I have kids of my own. Whatever that looks like, that conversation. Who do you love more today than you did a year ago? My second question for you is, how does your life show that you're growing in the love of God and people? Do you have growth in this moment? Is this an area in which you're growing, or is it where you're receding? Do people know more about you for what you are for or because of what you're against? And I hope and I pray that people can know what you are for, not necessarily what you are against. That you baffle people in that. But I think this is so powerful in that your neighbors know that you are for them, not against them. No matter if you disagree with their lifestyle choices, because yes, you can be right and they can be wrong, but I'm still for you, because ultimately, no matter if you are as far away from God as possible, if that's the drug dealer house that's got all the raves and all this stuff, yeah, I can be frustrated with what they're doing, but I am for them because I believe in a God who can redeem and restore and reclaim lives, and not only in this present reality, but reclaim and redeem and restore forever. And so, yes, I can say that is wrong. That is not the behavior that we want, whatever, but I can still be for you. And that needs to be recaptured. And it's at the heart of how we love well in these moments, that I can be frustrated with my own children. I can be frustrated with my wife. I can be frustrated with my family, but I can not agree with how they're spending time, talents, and resources. But I'm always still for them because I love them. I want the best for them, even through the present circumstances in which they're going with. That might be crazy, it might be weird, might be toxic, might be stuff. And how to love them well in those moments might be I actually have to be removed from them for a little bit, or I need to draw close to them for a little bit, or I need to, whatever that may be. I maybe need to turn them into the police for right now. I don't know what that is for you. But these moments and these times when we look in people's lives and we want them to know that we're for them because Jesus is for them. He died on the cross for them. He would stop at nothing to have a relationship with them. He didn't ask him to be clean. He didn't ask Zacchaeus to fix everything before he came to him. He didn't ask the sick man to be well before Jesus would talk to him. And I think sometimes we get that misplaced. He loved well, and we get to do that. And that's how people will know whose disciple we are, is by how we love each other. And so got the discussion guide going to drop in the description. If you're on YouTube, Facebook, I think it's just going to be attached to the bottom. Would love it if you would go through that, jump into the next steps pathway this week, especially if you're stuck and you can't even go to work. I mean, hey, it's a good time to do that. All right, let me pray for you as we close today. God, thank you so much for whoever is listening to this, whoever's watching this on a snowy day. Lord, I ask you to guide us and direct us and be with us as we try to be the best neighbors we possibly can be. We be the best followers of you that we possibly can be. God, that you would convict us where we need to be convicted. Lord, that we need to kind of be maybe encouraged in some ways to love better and look for opportunities to love. Not just so much loving inside our own homes, but loving in the neighbors around us. Lord, I ask for that motivation. I ask for that boldness. I ask for that courage for the people who have listened to this and watched this. I ask for that boldness and that courage for myself as I try to love my neighbors well in this new time. In Jesus' name I pray, amen. All right, join us next week live back in church. We've got the Next Step Sunday dinner. If you're new, we've got baptism. That's amazing. Call me if you want to talk about baptism. I'd love for that to happen. And then also the relationship series starts. So that's going to be super fun. I always have an elbow zone of marriage tips, like February's coming, Valentine's Day. It's the best time of the year to kind of recalibrate that. Of course, if you're single, there's going to be fantastic stuff for you to apply to your lives as well. It's not just exclusively for married people. I promise. All right. Y'all have a great day. God bless. And may the Lord bless you.